Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video we're going to be looking at probably what is the weirdest Xbox Indie Arcade game from the 360 that I can remember. So this game is called Mount Your Friends, and as the title of the game suggests, the objective of the game is to mount your friends. I'm not sure how many people played this game back on the Xbox 360, but I do remember mounting my friends quite a lot back in the day. So playing this game again is very nostalgic. So the basic and probably the game mode that everyone remembers is the basic 1v1 mode. You can either play with yourself or you could play with your friends going against each other, or just climbing as high as you can on your own to see how as high as you can get. And that's what I'm doing here in the gameplay. I'm basically playing against myself because none of my friends wanted to buy a game called Mount Your Friends. But in this game mode, essentially all you have to do is keep climbing and mounting on top of each other until you can try and get as high as you possibly can. And there is a 60-second timer, and once that reaches 0, if you've not reached above your friends to the top, you will lose the game. You have to use the WASD buttons to control each limb, so 2 hands and 2 legs, and back on the 360 this obviously was different controls, but I am playing this on PC for today's video. And when you hold down one of the buttons, the corresponding limb will move, and then you use the mouse to change the direction that you want that limb to move. This is very complicated to learn at first because it's kind of hard, like memorizing the buttons to each limb and then trying to get them all to move, especially when you're panicking and trying to beat the time. But after a while I got pretty good at it. Now, you do not ever want to say that you're good at mounting your friends. Don't say that. But for the purpose of this video, I was pretty good. For some reason, this goat is always here. He's there on every single mission, and he's the starting goal. You climb on top of him and you go from there. So I'm not too sure why a goal is the starting point, but I think the less questions the better. And another cool thing that you can do is you can actually change the weather. So there is this space mode where it adds a low gravity effect, so you start to float a bit more rather than just fall, which I thought was very cool. So moving on from the basic gameplay and the most basic mode that everyone probably played, there is an entire character customization within this game. So you can change the headpiece that your character wears, the body that your character has, as well as the skin color that your character can have. So my character here is based on the Incredible Hulk, and I thought I did a pretty good job. Now what surprised me is there is a lot of customization to the game. Like, you can actually customize your character quite a lot, and all of it is included with the game. You don't have to go do microtransactions, which I think is very cool. Forgotten time, eh? Back in the good old 360 games where you got everything that you paid for. Only if. But you can also customize multiple characters. It's not just one. You can customize as many as you want, and then you can go into these team modes and have these different characters shown in the team battles. Now moving on to the other game modes that the game offers, there is a whole multiplayer section and multiplayer game modes, but I couldn't find a single person playing this game. But these game modes were surprisingly fun. My favourite one was Hanging Dash, and this game mode, essentially you have to climb over these rocks and try to get as far as you possibly can before the timer runs out. And let me just say, Mount Your Friends walked so Getting Over It could run, because this really reminded me of Getting Over It. Obviously, minus all the rage and all that, but it was very similar, which I thought was pretty cool. But it was just a fun challenge. It was interesting to try and just not fall. And it may sound easy, but it really isn't, because when you're panicking, your brain's in a scramble trying to figure out what to do with all your fingers. God, it's really hard saying all this stuff about the context of the game. Don't use your fingers in mounting your friend. God damn. Some of the other game modes I really enjoyed were these 2 collection style game modes. One where you had to go across this track and collect these coins, which also had their own thing going on. Yeah. And then this other game mode where you had to go and collect these gems in a large room, and every time you collected a gem it would move location, and the gems also. But finally, another game mode that I really enjoyed was the horizontal version of the game. So essentially the game is climbing as high as you can vertically, but there is a game mode where it flips it on its side and you have to create a man bridge by mounting your friends to create a horizontal man bridge. Moving on, and I think it's finally I addressed the elephant in the room.
Turbulence! A whole bunch of turbulence! Everybody strap your seatbelts! Cause it's about to be some turbulence.
The sound effects. Now, the sound effects, let's just say you do not want to have this game playing out loud for anyone to hear. I would say that the sound effects are realistic, but I wouldn't know. But the sound effects are something else, man. This whole game is something else. And I will say, if you are planning to play this game on PC, be careful of the achievements, because there are some questionable achievements. But to wrap up the video, this game was a classic for me in the Xbox 360 Indie Arcade selection. I don't know how many people played it, but I remember playing this game quite a lot. It was just a fun little arcade game to play with friends, to have a break from all your Minecraft and Castle Miner Z. It was very fun for its time. And it still is fun. If you have some friends and you want to mount each other, I guess I've made this joke way too many times, but give it a go. It's available on Steam. It was only like £4.50 or something, and that'll be all for today's video. Sorry for taking such a long break. It's been like 11 days since my last video. There's been a lot of stuff going on, but I'm going to be back on track. I'm working on some other videos and some other old indie arcade reviews. Thank you for all the suggestions as well in the comments of other videos, as well as the community posts I've been putting out, but hopefully I will see you soon in the next video. Goodbye.